Today, me and Kevin are going to be going over the NCAA men's ice hockey regionals. They concluded last night, and there are now four teams heading to the Frozen Four. Those four are UMass, PC, Denver, and Minnesota Duluth. In this episode, we're going to be going over what happened that weekend and our thoughts moving forward on who we think will be the national champion April 13th. So, Kevin, do you want to start us off what happened in the Northeast region?
Yeah, definitely. So just a quick breakdown of the games. UMass beat Harvard 4-0. Then Notre Dame beat Clarkson 3-2. And then in that matchup between UMass and Notre Dame, UMass won 4-0 again, which we both predicted UMass would come out of the Northeast victorious. If you wanted to add anything to that.
I think the UMass Harvard game was a pretty close game. I think this score doesn't really do Harvard any justice. It was 0-0 for much of the game until it was obvious that Harvard was just exhausted and dead. UMass was then able to go on and capitalize off of that and get a 4-0 win. Notre Dame came back against Clarkson and won in overtime. That was a huge win. Clarkson looked a lot better than I was expecting, so I do have to give Clarkson credit for taking Notre Dame to overtime because Notre Dame is coming off of 2 straight Frozen Four appearances. So just the fact that they made that team go to overtime is impressive. But then we saw the next day UMass just solely overpowered Notre Dame, taking another 4-0 victory.
Yeah, it almost wasn't that surprising. Maybe the 4-0 defeat, but it wasn't that surprising that UMass beat Notre Dame just because of how close the play was between ND and Clarkson. Also, a quick side note, UMass has not let up a goal yet, so they have a +8 goal differential in this tournament. But I'm going to bring us now to the West, where, as you stated earlier, Denver was the winner out there. So we had AIC in a surprising upset 1-0 victory against St. Cloud. Then we had Denver 2-0 against Ohio State. And then when Denver matched up with AIC, they won 3-0, so they're going to the Frozen Four.
Yeah, and we can say that AIC definitely had the upset of the year over St. Cloud State. This is now St. Cloud State's second year in a row where they were the #1 seed heading into the national tournament, and they got bounced in the first round by the 16 seed. Last year it was a 4-0 loss to Air Force. This year it's a 2-1 loss to AIC. That can't be good as an outlook for the school right now, being such a good school and then just being bounced 2 years in a row. And then Denver versus Ohio State, that was a very close matchup between those two teams, but Denver was able to pull ahead, I think likely due to more experience. But then the next day, Denver versus AIC, another 3-0 shutout. Like Kevin said, UMass is not allowed a goal against, and neither has Denver. However, Denver does just have a +5 goal differential to UMass's +8.
Yeah, I think when we were looking at the games originally, just looking at St. Cloud's stats and records, it was really easy to just be confident about them coming in to this first game and really just beating a team who we haven't seen that much of historically in the tournament. But I think it's definitely going to be a knock against St. Cloud next year. Just there's not going to be a lot of confidence going in knowing that you're one of the #1 ranked overall. A lot of people are saying you're going to win the tournament, and then you get bounced again by a 16.
Yeah, so that does not look good for St. Cloud State right now. But I'm going to head over into the East region, which to me was the hardest, and we got the worst results in prediction-wise. We had PC versus Minnesota State. PC was down 3-0, came back and won that game 6-3. Cornell came in and just beat Northeastern pretty easily, 5-1. I'm not really sure what happened in Northeastern. They were having a really good season. So maybe them winning the Hockey East led them to have a little hangover heading into these regionals. And then we saw PC bounce Cornell 4-0. And right now, PC has scored 10 straight goals after being down 3-0. So I definitely think that the most explosive offense heading into the Frozen Four.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, we've seen both angles of PC. We've seen them be able to come in, score goals, and just neutralize the other team's attack. And we've also been able to see them come back from a 3-goal deficit and win by a lot. I did have PC coming out of the East. I wasn't really sure what was going to happen, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy that Northeastern fell so easily to Cornell, like you were saying earlier. And I think it's going to be a really interesting matchup at the Frozen Four.
Yeah, I was really expecting to see a good matchup between PC and Northeastern in that regional final, but hats off to Cornell for making it to that regional final. However, PC, like you said, is heading to Buffalo. So do you want to jump into the Midwest region, our last region?
Yeah, absolutely. So we saw Minnesota Duluth take the Midwest region. They beat Bowling Green 2-1. Then we saw Quinnipiac and Arizona State go up against each other. That was another 2-1 game. Quinnipiac took that. And then Minnesota Duluth and Quinnipiac played in that regional final, and Duluth won 3-1 against Quinnipiac. I'm just going to hop right into the first game. I expected to see a little bit more offensively out of Duluth. Obviously, they got the win, but it was against a team who hasn't faced as much challenge as Duluth did over the year. So I thought to maybe see something a little more impressive or just differentiate themselves from the other team. But I don't think I really saw that. It was a pretty standard game.
Yeah, definitely. And the second game was Arizona State versus Quinnipiac. Arizona State is in their first regionals appearance, so that as a school, that was a great accomplishment, just making it. And they didn't necessarily get blown out. They only lost 2-1 to a team that has made the Frozen Four 2 times in the past 6 to 7 years. So there's no shame in losing to Quinnipiac 2-1 in that first round. Like you said, I've expected more out of Minnesota Duluth. They went on to beat Quinnipiac 3-1 the next day. However, as defending champions, I feel like they may be riding an easy trip into the Frozen Four because Bowling Green hadn't made a regionals appearance since like 1984, and Quinnipiac is a young, like up-and-coming team, and Arizona State had no experience at all. So whoever they were going to play, they were pretty favorable since they were coming off of 2 straight Frozen Four appearances.
Definitely. As you were saying, I mean, props to Arizona State. I mean, we saw some teams get blown out. We saw teams get shutouts. So it was awesome to see them appear for their first time in the tournament. And, you know, it was definitely an interesting game to see. Did you want to hop into your semifinal predictions?
Yeah, so we have 2 games on April 11th at 5 o'clock. PC will be taking on Minnesota Duluth, and at 8:30, UMass will be taking on Denver. This is UMass's first Frozen Four appearance, and this is Minnesota Duluth's 3rd straight. And PC is coming off of winning their national championship just 4 years ago. And Denver has won, I believe, 1 or 2 national championships within the past 5 years. So, all fairness, the only team with not much experience is UMass. However, you can argue that UMass is definitely the best team in college hockey right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be crazy, the UMass-Denver matchup, to see 2 teams who haven't let up a goal yet go up against each other. I know I was wrong last round picking Ohio State over Denver, but I really think UMass, even though they're inexperienced, I think just the fact that they were able to get into this tournament over all of the other great teams in their region that didn't make it, I think they're going to be able to ride that to the semifinals, and I think we're going to see UMass in the final over Denver for this tournament.
Yeah, I have to agree with you with that game. So the next game is PC versus Minnesota Duluth. This is going to be a pretty tough game for each team. Minnesota Duluth trying to defend their national championship, and they have the pressure of being the national champions. However, at this moment, PC is by far the most explosive team. They do only have a +7 goal differential, which isn't the best of the remaining teams. But since allowing 3 goals, they've had a +10 goal differential. So you can say that since allowing those 3 goals against Minnesota State, they tightened everything up and they just went all offense. And you can see that their offense is clicking right now. So I do think when it comes down to it, if it's just two teams playing their game right now, I have to give PC the edge. The only way I see Duluth walking away with this is if PC maybe goes in there and isn't really on top of their game, and Duluth just takes it based on experience as of late.
I like that point you were making about PC might be running into something a little over their head. But I mean, like we were talking about earlier, Minnesota Duluth has sort of slid through this tournament to begin with, whereas PC has been a little bit more explosive. So I'm going to have to agree with you on the fact that PC is going to make it past Duluth in these semifinals.
So that would leave us with a UMass and PC national championship game, Massachusetts versus Rhode Island. That would be pretty interesting. Would you want to make a pick on that now?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to say PC all the way. I stuck with them in the beginning. Okay. We saw that going into it, and I think that when it comes to the finals, that type of pressure that it puts on a team to actually be in it, I think Providence's previous experience with this tournament is going to help them over UMass. And you're looking at two teams that are pretty even in play as of the last week.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. And I was saying right before we went on, I'm waiting for that game where UMass cracks under the pressure. I don't know, like they are an inexperienced team. So PC definitely has the edge on that. PC right now has the edge on offense. I would have to agree with you, and I would love to see PC win their second national championship in 4 years.
Absolutely.
So do you have any other facts or stats to add into that?
Honestly, I think I'm all set. I'm excited to watch the tournament, and I think no matter the result, it's gonna be a crazy ride for sure.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. All right, so guys, tune in for another episode of Inside the Ice this Wednesday at 7 p.m. Also, check out the slide at the beginning and the end of all of the episodes. It has all of our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube information for Game Changer Sports Network and Inside the Ice. Check us out, follow us, share us, subscribe to us, and just anything you want, just share it. Have a great day, guys.